Siddhārtha did not rush back into the world. After awakening beneath the tree, he remained where he was, not out of doubt, but out of depth. The body was still, the breath calm, the mind clear in a way it had never been before. The world had not changed. The river still flowed. The winds still moved through the leaves. Birds still called at dawn. And yet nothing was the same. For the first time, experience unfolded without distortion. Thoughts arose and passed. Sensations appeared and faded. There was no need to grasp them, no need to resist. Awareness remained open, steady, unshaken. Siddhārtha understood something quietly profound. Awakening was not an escape from the world. It was intimacy with it. For days he stayed near the tree, resting, observing, allowing the realization to settle fully into body and mind. And then a question arose, not from confusion, but from compassion. If this truth has ended suffering here, can it be shared? He saw the difficulty immediately. What he had seen was simple, but not easy. It did not depend on belief, ritual, or identity. It required seeing clearly. And most beings were lost inside habit, fear, and desire. Siddhārtha wondered if words could point without distorting, if teaching would help or confuse. For a moment, silence felt safer. Remaining alone would preserve clarity. The world was full of misunderstanding, attachment, and conflict. Why step back into it? Then memory arose, not as longing, but as recognition. Faces appeared in his awareness. The ascetics who had abandoned him, the teachers who had guided him part way, the villagers who lived and died without answers. And then one image became clear, the 5 ascetics who had once practiced beside him, men who had endured hunger, cold, and pain, men still convinced that suffering could be defeated through denial. They were near the city of Benares, living in a place called the Deer Park. Siddhārtha understood gently but firmly. If anyone could listen, it would be them. They already knew pain. They already knew discipline. What they did not yet know was balance. Siddhārtha rose. For the first time since awakening, he began to walk with intention, not as a seeker, not as a prince, but as one who had seen. Each step was light, grounded, unforced. The body moved naturally. The mind remained clear. As he traveled, people noticed him. There was nothing extraordinary about his appearance. No crown, no ornament, no sign of authority. And yet something about him felt different. His presence was calm without effort, his gaze steady without intensity, his movements precise without tension. People felt it without understanding it. Some stepped aside, some watched silently, some felt an unexplainable ease. Siddhārtha did not announce himself. He did not explain. He simply walked. When he reached the deer park, the 5 ascetics saw him from a distance. At first, irritation arose. This is the one who abandoned the path, they said. The one who returned to comfort. The one who failed. They agreed among themselves not to greet him, not to rise, not to offer respect. But as Siddhārtha approached, their resolve weakened. Something in his presence disrupted their certainty. He did not walk like someone defeated. He did not move like someone distracted. He moved like someone free. Without planning to, they stood. Without intending to, they prepared a seat. Siddhārtha sat before them, silent, composed. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Siddhārtha looked at them calmly and said, "I have found a way beyond suffering." The words were simple, but they landed with weight. This was not belief, not theory, not confidence. This was clarity, and the ascetics felt it immediately. They listened. Siddhārtha did not raise his voice. He did not speak as a preacher. He spoke as someone describing what he had seen clearly and without effort. He told them first what had not worked, not pleasure, not indulgence, not a life protected from pain, but also not starvation, not self-punishment, not the belief that pain itself could purify the mind. He spoke of extremes and how both had failed him. One had distracted the mind, the other had crushed it. Neither had led to freedom. And then gently, he spoke of something new, not a compromise, not a theory, but a direction, a way of living that did not swing between desire and denial, a path of balance, precision, awareness, the middle way. The ascetics listened closely. They had never heard suffering described this way, not as sin, not as fate, but as something understandable, something observable, something that could end. Then Siddhārtha spoke of suffering itself, not abstract suffering, but the kind they knew: hunger, fear, loss, aging, death. He did not dramatize it. He did not soften it. He simply named it. Life as it is lived without understanding contains suffering. This was not pessimism, it was honesty. And when suffering is seen clearly, it no longer needs to be denied. He explained that suffering has a cause, not punishment, not destiny, but craving, the constant reaching for what cannot last, the refusal to accept change, the belief that satisfaction can be secured. Craving binds the mind. Clinging tightens it. Resistance fuels pain. And when this cause is understood, something remarkable happens. Suffering does not need to be fought. It begins to dissolve, because what is clearly seen loses its power. Siddhārtha paused. The ascetics felt the stillness deepen. Then he spoke of the end of suffering, not as heaven, not as disappearance, but as release. When craving ends, suffering ends. Not because life becomes perfect, but because the mind no longer grasps, no longer resists, no longer clings to what must pass. This ending was not distant, not reserved for the chosen. It was immediate, accessible, real. And then Siddhārtha spoke of the path, not commandments, not rules, but alignment with reality, understanding that sees clearly, intention that moves without harm, speech that does not distort, action that does not divide, livelihood that does not exploit, effort that is steady, mindfulness that is present, concentration that is balanced, not steps to climb, but qualities to embody. As he spoke, something shifted among the ascetics. One of them felt it first, not excitement, not belief, but recognition, as if something long buried had been touched. His breath changed, his posture softened. The words did not enter his mind as concepts. They landed deeper, in experience, in the space where suffering had lived. And in that moment, understanding arose. Not complete, not final, but real. A crack opened in the structure of confusion. Siddhārtha saw it immediately. He knew the teaching had landed, not because they agreed, but because they saw. The ascetics no longer looked at him as one who had failed. They looked at him as one who had gone further than they had dared. And for the first time, Siddhārtha was not alone in his understanding. The path had begun to move outward, from one mind to another, from silence into relationship, without force, without persuasion, only clarity. Siddhārtha looked at the five ascetics and did not rush to explain. He knew this moment mattered. Words could either illuminate or confuse. So he began where they were, not with philosophy, not with metaphysics, but with experience. You know suffering, he said calmly. You have lived it. You have disciplined the body. You have endured hunger, pain, and denial. And before that, I lived the opposite. Pleasure, comfort, protection. Neither path ended suffering. The ascetics listened closely. Their resistance softened. This was not an argument. This was recognition. Siddhārtha continued. There are two extremes that do not lead to freedom. One is indulgence in pleasure. The other is self-mortification. Both bind the mind. One through attachment, the other through aversion. He paused, letting the words settle. Between them lies a different path. He spoke then of the middle way, not as compromise, not as weakness, but as precision, a way of living that neither dulls awareness nor crushes it, a path where the mind can see clearly because it is not distorted by excess. Siddhārtha explained that suffering was not random. It had structure, it had cause, it could be understood, and because it could be understood, it could also end. This was the first turning of the wheel. He named what he had seen directly. There is suffering. There is a cause of suffering. There is an end to suffering. And there is a path that leads to its end. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of lived truth. He described the path not as commandments, but as alignment. Right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, not steps to climb, not rules to obey, but qualities that arise naturally when perception is clear. The ascetics felt something shift inside them. This teaching did not demand belief. It invited observation. It did not ask them to suppress desire or worship pain. It asked them to see, to notice how craving tightens the mind, how clinging creates tension, how resistance feeds suffering, and how release happens not by force, but by understanding. As Siddhārtha spoke, one of the ascetics felt something open, not dramatically, not with visions or emotion, but quietly. He saw the pattern in his own experience, how suffering arose, how it passed, how nothing could be held. In that moment, understanding dawned, not as thought, but as insight. The Buddha saw it and smiled gently. The first seed had taken root. The wheel had turned. What had been seen under the tree was now alive in another mind, and that meant the path would continue. Siddhārtha did not declare himself a savior. He did not claim authority. He said only this: I teach because I see because I am free. You must see for yourselves. From that moment on, he was no longer only awakened. He was a teacher, not one who gives answers, but one who points. The deer park was quiet again. The river flowed. The wind moved through the grass. But something irreversible had begun. The Dharma had entered the world, and it would continue to turn, carried not by force, but by understanding.